Morning, students. Here today we are going to talk about the body organs. As you know, human body is an amazing, well-developed organism. We are most advanced animal on this planet, and human beings are made up of different type of body organs. That means हमारे शरीर के अंदर बॉडी लेवल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लेवल कौन सा पाया जाता है? वी हैव गॉट ऑर्गन सिस्टम लेवल ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड हमारे शरीर के अंदर आप देखते हैं बहुत सारे डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ बॉडी ऑर्गन्स दे आर फाउंड एंड they together work in synergy, they together work in coordination, and because of that they constitute an organ system level of organization. तो हम यहाँ आगे वाले स्लाइड्स में आप देखेंगे कि डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ बॉडी ऑर्गन जो हमारे पूरे शरीर को बनाते हैं, कॉन्स्टिट्यूट करते हैं. वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट द body organs of human beings, students. You will be finding these slides more attractive and informative. So here we have got this body organisms, body organs of human beings. When we are talking about human beings are arguably the most complex organisms on this planet. जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि human beings जो हैं वो सबसे ज़्यादा mostly developed organism है, and billions of microscopic parts, each with its own identity working together in an organized manner of the benefit of the total being. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ कि हमारे शरीर के अंदर बहुत सारे ऐसे असंख्य माइक्रोस्कोपिक पार्ट्स, माइक्रोस्कोपिक सेल्स, जैसे कि न्यूरॉन्स, स्पर्म्स, दीज ऑल आर फ्यू एग्जांपल्स ऑफ द माइक्रोस्कोपिक सेल्स जो हमारे बॉडी के अंदर पाए जाते हैं. और प्रत्येक सेल का हमारे, जैसे हमने सेल वाले चैप्टर में पहले पढ़ा है, हर प्रत्येक सेल की एक अपनी एक आइडेंटिटी होती है, अपना एक स्ट्रक्चर होता है, अपना एक फंक्शन होता है. परंतु जब उनका काम करने का, कोऑर्डिनेशन का समय आता है, they work together, they are working in an organized manner, and overall they benefit the total well-being of the human body. That means हमारे शरीर के अंदर जितने भी सेल्स पाए जाते हैं, चाहे वो नर्वस सिस्टम के हों, चाहे नेफ्रॉन्स हों, चाहे वो न्यूरॉन्स हों, चाहे वो एल्विलाइज हों, चाहे वो डिफरेंट बॉडी पार्ट्स के अलग अलग ऑर्गन्स की हेपेटोसाइट्स या रीनल के किडनी की साइट्स नेफ्रॉन्स हों, सब आपस में मिल करके एक ऑर्गेनाइज मैनर में एक बॉडी को, पूरे को हेल्दी एटमॉस्फेयर के साथ एक हमें हेल्दी रखने में मदद करते हैं, टोटल वेलबींग हमारी बना के रखते हैं. तो इस तरह से हम देखते हैं कि ह्यूमन बॉडी इज अ सिंगल स्ट्रक्चर, बट इट इज मेड अप ऑफ बिलियंस ऑफ स्मॉल स्ट्रक्चर्स ऑफ 4 मेजर काइंड्स. हमारी जो टोटल ह्यूमन बॉडी है वो असंख्य सेल्स के द्वारा बनी हुई एक ऐसा ऑर्गेनाइज स्ट्रक्चर है जो 4 मेजर तरह के उससे स्ट्रक्चर्स से मिलके बना हुआ है. ये 4 मेजर स्ट्रक्चर्स कौन कौन से हैं? दे आर द सेल्स. सेल्स, जैसा कि हमने पहले क्लासेस में, छोटी क्लासेस में भी पढ़ा हुआ है कि सेल इज द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर एंड फंक्शनल यूनिट ऑफ द एनी लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म. तो हम भी एक लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म है. ह्यूमन बॉडी इज ऑल्सो ए लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म. So it is made up of numerous cells which begins as a single newly fertilized cell. Newly fertilized cell, that means हमारी journey life की कहाँ से शुरू होती है? Our journey starts from zygote. So zygote is a fertilized cell which leads to the formation of different types of cells during the due course of the development called as the gestational period और embryogenesis. So embryogenesis के दौरान, यानी embryo development के दौरान हमारे अंदर शरीर के जो different type of cells पाई जाती हैं, they are organized into ectoderm and mesoderm and endoderm, and we are triploblastic animals. So हमारे अंदर जो different type of cells, different type of organs, different type of organ systems का जो development होता है, that is originated from a single fertilized cell called as zygote. So हमारा जो life की journey शुरू होती है वो जाइगोट से होती है. Then tissues are the more complex units than cells. That means how we define tissues? Tissues are the group of cells that originate from a single place and they work together unitedly for a achievement of the common goal. यानी कि हमारे जो टिश्यूज होते हैं वो एक ही तरह की सेल से मिलके बने होते हैं और क्यूमुलेटिवली वो आपस में यूनाइटेडली काम करते हैं एक कॉमन गोल को अचीव करने के लिए. देन दीज टिश्यूज दे यूनाइट टुगेदर एंड दे फॉर्म ऑर्गन्स. ऑर्गन्स क्या है? जैसे लंग एक ऑर्गन है, किडनी हमारा दूसरा ऑर्गन है, लिवर हमारा एक अलग ऑर्गन है, ठीक है. तो इस तरह के अलग अलग ऑर्गन जो हैं, देर आर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ सेवरल डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ टिश्यूज सो अरेंज दैट टुगेदर दे कैन परफॉर्म अ स्पेशल फंक्शन, यानी कि हमारे अंदर बॉडी के अंदर जो अलग अलग प्रकार के टिश्यूज पाए जाते हैं, हेपेटोसाइट या रीनल टिश्यूज या हमारे न्यूरॉन्स, ये सब मिलकर के अलग अलग ऑर्गन्स का निर्माण करते हैं। उदाहरण के तौर पर अगर हम देखें कि स्टमक जो है, इट इज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ द मसल्स, कनेक्टिव टिश्यूज, एपिथेलियल टिश्यूज एंड नर्वस टिश्यूज का ये कंपाइल्ड फॉर्म है। तो यहाँ पर ये सारे टिश्यूज जो हैं आपस में मिल करके एक स्टमक यानी कि सैक लाइक स्ट्रक्चर, जो कि डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम का हमारा एक मुख्य ऑर्गन है, उसको कॉन्स्टिट्यूट करते हैं। Similarly, different type of organs they constitute systems. Like even it is systems are the even most complex form of the component unit of the human body. जैसे कि हमारे अंदर systems देखें तो we have got excretory system, we have got respiratory system, we have got reproductive system, we have got nervous system, and so many other. So putting together all the systems in a streamline, our body gets organized, and this is what different body organs are constituting the system of the human body. Then after we move to the skeletal system first. So among the different types of systems, we have got the skeletal system. So skeletal system provides a framework to the body. यानी framework का मतलब है जैसे कि स्केलेटन चाहिए होता है किसी भी बिल्डिंग को मजबूती के लिए, उसी प्रकार से हमारे शरीर को ये जो है एक स्वरूप प्रदान करता है। स्केलेटल सिस्टम मीन्स it is giving a framework to our body. So humans are vertebrates. As we know that we are vertebrates, why? Because we have got the vertebral column, and animals having the vertebral column or the backbone, they are called as vertebrates. करेक्ट। आप लोगों ने छोटी क्लासेस में पढ़ा होगा कि वर्टिब्रेट जो होते हैं दे आर कैरेक्टराइज्ड बाय द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द वर्टिब्रल कॉलम और द बैकबोन इन विच वी हैव गॉट आवर नोटोकॉर्ड आल्सो प्रेजेंट। सो द ह्यूमन स्केलेटल सिस्टम कंसिस्ट ऑफ द बोन्स, कार्टिलेजेस, लिगामेंट्स एंड टेंडन्स। हमारा जो ह्यूमन स्केलेटल सिस्टम है वो किन किन चीज़ों से मिलकर बना हुआ है? बोन्स से, कार्टिलेजेस से, लिगामेंट्स से और टेंडन से मिलके बना होता है। बोन प्रोवाइड ए रिजिड फ्रेमवर्क, यानी हमारा जो पूरा स्केलेटन है वो बेसिकली बोन्स से मिलके बना हुआ है, जो कि एक रिजिड फ्रेमवर्क प्रोवाइड कराता है। हमारे हाथ कैसे दिखाई देंगे, हमारे पैर कैसे दिखाई देंगे, हमारा स्कल कैसा दिखाई देगा। सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर बिकॉज ऑफ, यानी कि कुल मिलाकर के हम जैसा शेप अप हैं उसमें हमारे बोन्स का बहुत बड़ा रोल है, बिकॉज इट प्रोवाइड्स रिजिड, रिजिड मीन्स होता है सॉलिड फ्रेमवर्क बनाता है, दैट क्रिएट्स द स्केलेटन ऑफ आवर ह्यूमन बॉडी। सो दैट सपोर्ट्स एंड प्रोटेक्ट्स द सॉफ्ट ऑर्गन्स आल्सो ऑफ द बॉडी। हाउ? जैसे उदाहरण के तौर पर अगर हम बात करें तो रिब केज, यानी हमारी जो thoracic cavity है, it provides or it covers the delicate organs like lungs and heart. So that is how it supports the soft organs of the body as well. Now bones contain intercellular matrix as calcium phosphate. As you know कि प्रत्येक सेल जो होती है वो एक उसके अंदर कुछ इंटरसेलुलर मैट्रिक्स पाया जाता है, जैसे कि आपने सेल के अंदर साइटोप्लाज्मिक मटेरियल पढ़ा है। तो ठीक उसी प्रकार से bones are also cells. So bone cells contains the intercellular matrix in the form of calcium phosphate. That's why calcium is very very important for the uh, for the good health of the bone, we can say. तो अच्छी बोन्स के लिए अच्छे कैल्शियम लेवल्स का होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, देन ओनली वी कैन इमेजिन और वी कैन थिंक ऑफ हैविंग आवर बोन्स स्ट्रॉन्ग। बोन्स जो है बेस्ड ऑन द शेप, साइज एंड स्ट्रक्चर कैन बी डिफाइंड एंड कैन बी क्लासिफाइड एज अ लॉन्ग बोन्स। लॉन्ग बोन्स वो बोन्स होती हैं जो लंबी होती हैं, दे आर लॉन्गर देन विड्थ, इनकी लंबाई जो है वो चौड़ाई से ज़्यादा होती है, ठीक है। एंड दे कंसिस्ट ऑफ लॉन्ग शेफ्ट, इनके दोनों एंड्स पर बल्कि एंड्स पाए जाते हैं जिनको कि हम एजेस बोलते हैं उनके। तो इनके जो लंबाई ज़्यादा होती है और लॉन्ग शेफ्ट लाइक बल्कि एंड्स होते हैं। एग्जाम्पल्स कौन से हैं लॉन्ग बोन्स के? लाइक बोन्स ऑफ द थाइज, bones of the legs, bones of the arms, like we have got bones like femur, bones like tibia, fibula and forearms की और thighs की जो bones हैं वो हमारी long bones के examples हैं। Then short bones we have got, short bones are roughly cube shape की होती हैं, cube जिसमें कि लंबाई, चौड़ाई और ऊंचाई दोनों सब एक जैसी होती है। They are cuboidal shaped bones with vertical and horizontal dimensions approximately equal, यानी इनके vertical और horizontal और longitudinal dimensions जो होते हैं approximately बराबर होते हैं क्यूब के जैसे, जैसा आइस क्यूब देखा है आपने इस शेप की होती हैं। तो ये कौन सी इनके एग्जाम्पल्स कौन से हैं? एग्जाम्पल्स आर द बोन्स ऑफ द रिस्ट एंड एंकल, हमारी जो एंकल की और रिस्ट की बोन्स होती हैं वो इसके एग्जाम्पल्स हैं। फ्लैट बोन्स पाई जाती हैं हमारे स्कल के अंदर। सो देयर आर सम फ्लैट बोन्स, दे आर थिन, फ्लैटेंड एंड यूजुअली कर्व्ड, रिबन शेप की फ्लैटेंड होती हैं जैसे हमारा स्केल। तो इस तरह की फ्लैटेंड स्ट्रक्चर्स की जो बोन्स होती हैं वो पतली होती हैं, फ्लैटेंड होती हैं, यूजुअली कर्व्ड होती हैं, कर्व्ड स्ट्रक्चर्स, कर्व शेप्स प्रोवाइड कराती हैं। जैसे कि एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर हमारे बोन्स ऑफ द क्रेनियम एंड फ्लैट बोन्स ऑफ द स्कल, हमारे स्कल की या फेस की फेशियल रीजन की जो कर्व बोन्स होती हैं, दे आर द एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ flat bones. Apart from that, we have got irregular bones. Irregular bones इनका की कोई shape, fixed shape structure नहीं होता. They don't have any fixed dimensions. तो primarily spongy bones होती हैं. They are covered with a thin layer of compact bone. उनके ऊपर एक compact bone की पतली layer पाई जाती है. The vertebrae and some of the bones in the skull, they are the examples of irregular bones. यानी हमारे वर्टिब्री कौन सी होती है? हमारा बैकबोन जो होता है वो, और स्कल के अंदर कुछ जो बोन्स पाई जाती हैं। वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट मच मोर डिटेल अबाउट द स्कल बोन्स एंड बोन्स कॉन्स्टिट्यूटिंग द स्कल इन डिटेल व्हेन वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट द स्केलेटल सिस्टम इन डीप। एंड ये सारी इरेगुलर बोन्स के एग्जांपल्स हो गए। नाउ वी हैव गॉट द डिविजन्स ऑफ द स्केलेटन, like based upon the presence of the bones, where which area they are present in, they are divided into different parts. तो एडल्ट ह्यूमन स्केलेटन के अंदर अगर हम देखें ऑन एन एवरेज, यानी कि द टोटल नंबर ऑफ bones which are present in an adult human skeleton is 206. That means an adult human skeleton consists of 206 bones. Named bones means, that means those who have been identified and they have been named, यानी हम उनका नाम जानते हैं, नामकरण हमने उन बोन्स का ऑलरेडी किया हुआ है। So there are 206 named bones. So they can be grouped into two divisions named as the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. तो यहाँ आप देख रहे हैं कि देयर इज अ, you can see that these are the, see there are axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton की अगर हम बात करें, so the 80 bones of the axial skeleton, axial skeleton के अंदर कितनी bones होती हैं? There are 80 bones which forms the vertical axis of the body. ये vertical axis बनाती है हमारी। इसके examples क्या हैं? Bones of the head, vertebral column, ribs and breastbone और sternum. Sternum जो है हमारे चेस्ट रीजन की जो बोन होती है उसको स्टर्नम बोलते हैं, जिसको ब्रेस्ट बोन भी बोलते हैं। सो 80 बोन्स जो है वो एक्सियल स्केलेटन दे कंप्राइजेस ऑफ द एक्सियल स्केलेटन। दैट इनके एग्जांपल्स हमने अभी यहाँ पे देखे, हेड, वर्टिब्रल कॉलम, रिब्स एंड ऑल दैट इंक्लूडिंग स्टर्नम, दे आर द पार्ट ऑफ द एक्सियल स्केलेटन। Appendicular skeleton is made up of, or it comprises of 126 bones. 126 bones they put together constitute appendicular skeleton. It includes pectoral girdles, that includes 2 clavicles, 2 scapula, ये हमारे कॉलर बोन्स भी कहलाते हैं, शोल्डर बोन्स के उधर, दिस इज द पेक्टोरल गर्डल। देन देयर आर upper extremities. Upper extremities include the body, the bones of the limbs of the body such as the arms or legs. तो ये upper extremities कहलाते हैं। upper extremities में humerus, there are 2 humerus, 1 in each arm, radius 2 and ulna 2। ये हमारे ये जो लोअर लिम्ब के, अपर लिम्ब के लोअर पार्ट की जो बोन्स होती हैं, रेडियस एंड अल्ना, they are formed together. So radius and ulna for 1 arm each, there are 2 radius, 2 ulna. Then carpals are total 16 in number. Metacarpals, they are 10 in number. So put together this constitute 1 human arm. So 2 is in, they are 2 in number, so they are calculated according to the 2 arms. Then total phalanges we have got is 28. Then we come down to lower extremities, that is the hip bone, that is called as the pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle is formed by the 2 hip bones and it includes coxal, innominate or the hip bones, they are 2 in number. Lower extremities, that means when we are talking about the lower limb, so they are the part of the lower leg or the leg, that includes ankle and foot also. So the name of the bones which constitute the lower limb or the leg part is the femur. We have got two legs, so there are two femur, then two tibia and two fibula. These are again one for each leg. Then the patella. Patella is the that is the kneecap. We call it as the kneecap. So one for each. Then tarsals are 14. Metatarsals are 10 in number put together for both the legs, and phalanges are 14 each. That means for both the legs 28 each. 28 for both legs put together. Then we will be talking about the muscular system here. So muscular system, when we talk about here, we have got, so when we are talking about this muscular system, so it is composed of the specialized cells. They are called as the muscle fibers. So muscle fibers, they are basically constituting the muscular system. Now, muscular system itself includes, uh, let us talk about the function first. So muscular system, the role of the muscles is basically they are involved in different type of movements. Movements can be the movement of the jaw, which is a stationary movement. Then movements can be when the position of an individual or an organism changes from one place to another with the due course of time. So movements can be, it can be in the form of locomotion. Movements can be stationary also, like the movements of the jaw when the cow is chewing the curd, or it is like when we chew our food, then the movement of the jaws is a stationary movement. Our position then doesn't changes in that case. So that is also governed by or achieved by the muscles. So muscles are responsible for different type of movements in our body. यानी हमारे अंदर शरीर के जितने भी मूवमेंट्स होते हैं, दैट इज बेसिकली बिकॉज ऑफ द मसल्स. सो द मूवमेंट इन द बॉडी इज द रिजल्ट ऑफ द मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्शन एंड रिलैक्सेशन. यानी हमारे शरीर के अंदर जितने भी मूवमेंट्स पाए जाते हैं, चाहे वो स्टेशनरी मूवमेंट्स हैं या लोकोमोटरी मूवमेंट्स हैं, वो सब मसल्स के कॉन्ट्रैक्शन और रिलैक्सेशन के फलस्वरूप होते हैं. सो दीज मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्शन लीड्स टू फेशियल एक्सप्रेशंस. हमारे फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन जो होते हैं वो भी मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्शन के कारण होते हैं. मूवमेंट ऑफ द आईज, that is also because of the contraction and relaxation of the iris muscles, movement of the muscles of the ciliary muscles. So all these things, they lead to, because of the movement of the ciliary muscles, we have got the power of accommodation of the lens. And again, respiration is also a movement of the muscles that leads to expansion and contraction of the rib cage and expansion and contraction of the lungs. Thereby we inhale or exhale the air, or gases exchange takes place. Then we have got different types of muscles. How many types of muscles we have got? Simply, if we classify the types of muscles, we have got three types of muscles. Number one is the skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are the striated muscles. See, striated muscles का मतलब होता है कि जिन muscles के अंदर dark और light bands का striation पाया जाता है. That means there is a clear cut differentiation between the thick band and the thin band. Thick band and thin band, they alternate with each other. So that kind of striation is found in certain set of muscles. So skeletal muscles are those set of muscles which has got striations. That means they have got differentiation of thick and thin bands. So that's why they are called as striated muscles. These muscles, they are attached to bones, and they are responsible for the skeletal movement. That means they bring about the movement, they bring about the locomotion in an organism. After the skeletal muscles, another set of muscles which are found in human beings is the smooth muscles. They are found in the walls of the hollow internal organs, such as inner walls of the blood vessels. They are made up of smooth muscles. Inner walls of the gastrointestinal tract, urinary bladder, inner walls of the uterine cavity, these fallopian tubes, they all are made up of smooth muscle cells. So they are under the control of autonomic nervous system. That means they are involuntary muscles. We cannot control their movements. ठीक है ना. अगर आज हमारे पेट में दर्द हो रहा है तो स्पैस्मोडिक पेन है, स्पैस्म के कारण हो रहा है, तो हम उस दर्द को कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते, because it is under the control of autonomic nervous system, say for example. Okay, now another type of muscles, they are highly specialized. They are working non-stop right from the birth of an organism till the organism dies. These cardiac muscle cells, they work non-stop. So cardiac muscles, they are found in the walls of the heart. They constitute the muscles of the heart. And as you know, the heart starts functioning from the gestational period till the person dies. It works non-stop. So ye muscles, they are highly specialized. These muscles are highly specialized. They don't get fatigued. They do not stop their function, never, till the person is alive. So these cardiac muscles, they are found in the heart only, and they are also under the control of autonomic nervous system. We cannot control the functioning of these heart cells as per our will. So this is how these autonomic nervous system works also. And now we are going to talk about the another very specialized system of the body organ, of the human body organ, that is the nervous system. So just to have an introduction superficially, we have got a slide over here where that is showing you a typical structure of the neuron. Neuron comprises of a, this is called as a cell body. Okay, inside the cell body there is a big nucleus, you can see, and within the cell body or the cyton there are dendrites arising all around, which the functions of these dendrites is to receive the stimulus from the, when the stimulus is received on these dendrites, it is passed on to the cell body or to the cyton, and from this cyton it passes down to this thread like tail like long structure which is called as the axon. Axon transmits this impulse which are received by this cell body to the another end, which has got again the endings of this axon terminals, which are called as the dendrites, which has got these synaptic knobs over here. So this stimulus which is received over here by these dendrites, this cytonal dendrites, it is passed on to the axon, and then axon passed on this stimulus to the dendrites, and then again these dendrites, they have connection with the another neuron through this, and this is how the impulse is conducted from one neuron to another neuron, and then to several neurons, and finally the nerve conduction takes place. So this is all we will be talking in detail when we will be talking about the nerve conduction and how this nervous system works in detail later on. Here we will be talking about the nervous system. It was just an introduction to the structure of the typical neuron which you are seeing over here. Now I am coming back to the nervous system introductory part. So major controlling neuron or the nervous system is the major controlling, regulatory and communicating system of the human body. न्यूरॉन को हम एक कंट्रोलिंग यूनिट बोल सकते हैं, रेगुलेटरी यूनिट बोल सकते हैं, कम्युनिकेटिंग यूनिट बोल सकते हैं, क्योंकि जैसे ही हमारे कोई स्टिमुलस प्राप्त होता है, स्टिमुलस कैन बी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ हीट, it can be in the form of an electric shock, it can be in the form of high intensity light. So there are different type of, or it can be in the form of an insect bite. So these are all different type of stimulus which are controlled, regulated and communicated from one end to the another end. That means from the site of the receiving of this stimulus to the brain or to the chief controlling organ, and then back again from the brain to the effector organ, how what action has to be taken according to the kind of stimulus you are receiving. So that we'll be talking much more about this all in detail later on. Now, nervous system is the center of all mental activities, including thought, learning, memory. Together, it is also working in coordination with the endocrine system. That means different type of hormones also involved in all these processes when this nervous system works or when the neuronal function works. It is involved in the thought, it is involved in our learning, it is involved in our memory systems, and it works in coordination with the endocrine system. Endocrine system means the system of glands which secrete certain chemical substances called the hormones. Then nervous system is responsible for regulating and maintaining the homeostasis also. Homeostasis means the internal environment of the body is matched with the external environment. So our temperature is maintained at a constant level, at constant figure when we are not sick, when we are healthy enough. So our body is capable enough to maintain the normal temperature of 98.6. That is that process of with the changing environment. अगर गर्मी ज़्यादा है तो हमारा बॉडी टेम्परेचर कांस्टेंट बना रहता है, सर्दी ज़्यादा है टेम्परेचर फॉल डाउन होकर के 2350 पहुंच गया, then also our body temperature remains constant. So this ability of regulating the body temperature and maintaining the constant temperature throughout with the changing environmental surrounding environment temperature, that process is called as maintaining the homeostasis. Then our nervous system is also composed of different organs. Principally it includes the central nervous system comprising of the brain and the spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system that includes the nerves and the ganglia, which are arising from this spinal cord and spreading across the body system. Then nervous system has got various activities of the nervous system that can be grouped together. It can be in the form of sensory, where they can detect the changes taking place across the environmental conditions in our surroundings. They are called as a stimuli, as I talked to you earlier. Then they are interactive and motor. That means they receive this stimuli, they pass on this stimuli to the brain, and what action has to be taken against this stimuli, that is communicated back to the effector organ by this motor neuron. So nervous tissues are basically the neurons. They are the structure of this neuron is over here, which we have discussed over here. See, I forgot to talk to you about the axon. Axon के ऊपर there are myelin sheath which is present. This myelin sheath has got protective work. They protect basically the axon from any damage. Then these are the Schwann cells are also present. Then at the junction of these myelin sheaths there are nodes of Ranvier. So this structure and what are their different roles, we will be talking in detail much more in later classes. So those neurons which has got the covering of the myelin sheath, they are called as the myelinated neurons. And these neurons, they are found in the brain. And those ones which do not have the myelin sheath, they are called as non-myelinated neurons. So we will be talking about all this. So basic job of the neuron is to conduct the impulse. So basically these are the conducting cells that transmits the impulse from site of receiving the impulse to the brain, and then from again brain to the effector organ where the action is achieved. Now, here we are going to talk about the organization of the nervous system. There are two subdivisions of the nervous system. Our human body has got two types of nervous system working in their central nervous system, or known as the CNS. CNS comprises of the brain and the spinal cord, as I talked to you earlier, and this central nervous system is made up of cranial nerves. See, the nerves which are arising from the cranium or the brain, they are referred as the cranial nerves. Whereas those nerves which arises from our spinal cord, they are called as the spinal nerves. And they are extending from the central nervous system to the peripheral organs, and thereby covering each and every nick and corner of our body, right from the head to toe. We are covered by these branches, special branches, or the peripheral nerves, which can give sense of surrounding of our environmental conditions. We can sense of each and every stimulus. Say for example, we can sense of the temperature, we can sense of the cold climatic conditions, we can sense of the different types of food we eat, uh, different type of sounds we receive. So all these are different kind of stimulus. So they are received and acted upon by the central nervous system. So central nervous system is the chief system of our nervous system which controls our body functions. Then another one is the peripheral nervous system, which is in short, in abbreviation, known as the PNS. It comprises of the nerves and ganglia. So ganglia and nerves constitute the peripheral nervous system. It is further divided into afferent nervous system and efferent nervous system. See, afferent nervous system is comprising of the sensory part. That means it receives the impulse which is, or the stimulus which is received on the surface of the skin, surface of the nose, or say for tongue, ear. These are our sensory organs. So any sensory organ which is receiving any kind of impulse, whether it is an auditory, it is a gustatory, or it is in fragrance. So all these different sensory organs, they receive our different type of stimulus in a whole day, and these sensory organs are received by this, and the को receive कौन करता है, efferent organs, and they are passed on to the brain, and from there the efferent or the motor neuron that guides us, or the different organs, the message is received from the brain what action has to be taken against this stimuli. Then afferent or sensory divisions transmits the impulse from peripheral organs to the CNS. जैसा मैंने आपको अभी बताया, afferent और sensory divisions जो होते हैं वो peripheral organ से for हमारे finger tips से, हमारे nose से, हमारे ears से different types of stimulus को receive करके brain को pass on करते हैं. Then what is the role of the efferent or the motor neurons? Motor neurons or the efferent neurons, they transmit the impulse from the CNS back to the peripheral organs. यानी ब्रेन ने अब इस स्टिमुलस को क्या रिसीव किया, क्या परसीव किया, और उसके अगेंस्ट वो क्या कमांड दे रहा है हमारे बॉडी को। सपोज आपने कोई इलेक्ट्रिक आयरन जो गर्म थी उसको छू ली, तो आप क्या करेंगे, हमारा ब्रेन क्या कमांड देगा, इमीडिएटली रिमूव द फिंगर्स फ्रॉम द आयरन। और आपने कोई, आप तेज धूप में जा रहे हैं, आपको हाई इंटेंसिटी लगी, आपने क्या किया, गॉगल्स निकाले, आंख के ऊपर लगा लिए। सो व्हाट इज दिस, दिस इज द command of the CNS, or this is CNS which is commanding you through efferent or motor neurons. That's why you are putting up the goggles, you are removing your fingers from the hot iron. This is achieved by the action of the efferent or the motor divisions. Okay, then efferent or motor divisions is again subdivided into somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. So based on this somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system, we have got two types of muscles, voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles working in. Based on that, we can find out that whether the functions can be according to our will or function cannot be according to our will. So now in this slide, we are going to talk about the endocrine system. Endocrine system is the system of glands and cells that makes hormones. Hormones are the chemical substances which are released directly into the blood, because these glands, they are called as the ductless glands. So the glands which are releasing these chemical substances named as hormones, they are ductless glands, and their secretions are directly poured into the blood, and from the blood they are being taken away, or they travel to distant places, to tissues, to organs, and to each and every cell all across the body. They are distributed. Now when we are talking about the endocrine system, so endocrine system, which is made up of different type of endocrine glands, the position and all the glands which are present in our body system we'll be talking about later on. So these endocrine system or endocrine glands, they control growth, they control our sexual development, they control our sleep, they control our hunger, and even the postures and the balancing of the body is achieved by the functioning of these endocrine glands or endocrine system. Now the major categories of the glands in the body, they are, यानी कि हमारे बॉडी के अंदर जो कितनी तरह की ग्लैंड्स पाई जाती हैं, दे आर मेजरली कैटेगराइज्ड अंडर two types. So exocrine glands and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands, they are basically ducted glands. That means their secretions are not poured into the blood. Rather, these glands, they have ducts with them. So their secretions are called as enzymes. They are another type of chemical substances which are produced by these, or secreted, produced and secreted by these exocrine glands, and they are called as the ducted glands. So these glands, they secrete or they produce these chemical substances, and their secretions are called as enzymes. Enzymes are called as biocatalysts. That means the function of these enzymes or these chemical substances are in the form of catalyst. And as you know, catalysts, they are those substances which do not take part in any biochemical reaction, but they hasten or they fasten the, or they increase the pace or the rate of the reaction to many folds by alternating, providing an alternating pathway of reaction. So enzymes are biocatalysts because they are involved in the biochemical changes. They are involved in the metabolic processes, metabolic reactions, and therefore they are called as biocatalysts. We will be talking in detail much more about enzymes in the different classes. So these glands include sweat glands, sebaceous glands, mammary glands, and including this saliva, salivary glands, they are also examples of all these, which produces saliva is also having an enzyme, salivary amylase, which is the chief enzyme in the digestion, where the which helps in converting the starch into maltose. Now, endocrine glands, they do not have ducts. As I told you earlier, they are called as the ductless glands. Their secretions are directly poured into the blood. And endocrine glands, they are many in number. They are situated in different places in our body, which we'll be talking in subsequent, just now in these different slides. So endocrine glands are the secretions. Their secretions are hormones, and they are directly poured into the blood, and they influence the functioning of the cells. Those who have got receptor sites, each and every cell has got receptor site for different kind of hormones. See here in this cell, in this slide, you can see different kind of major endocrine glands which are found in male and females. This side we have got pineal gland which is situated in the brain. Then hypothalamus itself is an endocrine gland, and pituitary gland. So pituitary gland, hypothalamus, and pineal gland, these are the three endocrine glands which are situated in our brain. Then when we come down in the neck region, you have got thyroid gland and the parathyroid gland. These are the two endocrine glands which are found in the neck region. Then thymus gland, these are situated in the thoracic cavity on above the heart. This is the thymus gland. Then you have got another important gland as the pancreas, which is known as the composite gland because it has got both exocrine and endocrine action. And we have got adrenal glands which are situated on the just above the kidney like a Christmas cap. So these adrenal glands are found, and the pair of glands is present, one on each kidney as a Christmas cap. These are adrenal glands. And then we have got gonads. Gonads are again, they are the and one of the endocrine glands which secrete different type of hormones. Like in females, we have got ovary as the gonads or endocrine glands. It secretes ovarian hormones, and testes are the gonads in males which secrete androgens and especially testosterone as the male hormone. So this is a small introduction to the endocrine glands and the positions which are found, where they are found in the different body parts of human beings. Now here we are going to talk about the cardiovascular system. So cardiovascular system is also known as the circulatory system or the blood vascular system. The blood vascular system, as you know, it comprises of the heart, vessels that includes arteries, veins, and capillaries. So as you know, heart is a pumping organ. So it is a muscular organ, and the chief function of this heart is of this muscular pumping organ is to pump the blood across the different cells which are present across the entire body surface. So this function is achieved by a network of the vessels, which are three different type of vessels are found. They are in the human body. It includes arteries, veins, and capillaries. The difference between arteries, veins, and capillaries we will be talking in detail when we'll be talking about circulatory system in detail. Heart is basically here. Heart is a muscular pump. It is a pumping organ which generates the necessary force to circulate the blood, which should reach to each and every nick and corner of the blood of the body, to each and every cell. So therefore, heart should have that much of force. So it is basically a pumping organ that pumps the blood so that it can reach to each and every cell of the body. What also it ensures, heart ensures continuous supply of oxygen and nutrients, and also removal of the toxic metabolic substances which are known as the waste metabolic products in the form of urea or in the form of carbon dioxide, and important nutrients in the form of carbohydrate, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals. All these are important nutrients which are absorbed during after the digestion, and oxygen which is absorbed in the blood is in the form of oxyhemoglobin, and it is circulated through in the combined form of oxyhemoglobin to each and every cell. Now here is an internal structure, it is an internal view of the heart for your knowledge. Heart is a human heart is a pumping organ which is made up of four chambers. The upper two chambers, they are smaller in size. They are known as the atrium. There are right part. See, if you can see, this heart is divided into two parts, two halves, the right half and the left half. And in each side there are two chambers. So upper two chambers which are present in here, they are left atrium and the right atrium. Then the lower chambers, they are bigger as compared to the upper chambers. They are called as the ventricles, the left ventricle and the right ventricle. You can see over here there is a clear cut demarcation of this side of the right side, or sorry, left side of the heart is consisting of, or it is carrying the pure blood or oxygenated blood, whereas this blue color indicates to the deoxygenated blood which is being received by this atrium, and it is circulated to the lungs for purification. So in detail, I'll be talking about the double circulation and how do these chambers work, what are the functions of each chamber, what are the functions of the interatrial septum, what are kind of valves which are present. We will be talking in detail later on. Here superficially you can just have a look on this. So these are the two chambers, two atrium, left atrium, left ventricle and right ventricles. This is the bundle of His. Then these are the Purkinje fibers. Then these are the valves which are present. Tricuspid valve is present between the right atrium and the right ventricle, and bicuspid valve is present between the, it is also known as the mitral valve. Bicuspid valve is also known as the mitral valve, which connects the left atrium to the left ventricle. Clear? Then these are the pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins carry the blood to the right atrium, and pulmonary artery carries the blood, the blood or the impure blood to the lungs. This is an exception. We will be talking about this, that why these veins are referred to as carrying the pure blood or oxygenated blood, and why pulmonary artery is carrying the impure blood. So I'll be telling you much more about all these things when we will be talking about the circulatory system in the coming slides. Then aorta is an arc which is carrying or distributing the oxygenated blood. After each diastole, this aorta pushes the blood, oxygenated blood, into the systemic circulation. So there are two types of circulation. One is pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Therefore, the human heart shows double circulation. We'll be talking much more later on. Here we are going to talk about the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is the basically another type of system which is present along with circulatory system in human body. Lymphatic system consists of the three primary functions. The first one is the first lymphatic system. It returns excess interstitial fluid to the blood. That means approximately 90% of the interstitial fluid is returned back to the blood. Second one is the lymphatic system. It is absorption of fat and fat soluble vitamins from the digestive system. That means these lymphatic systems, they help in the absorption of nutrients like fats or fat soluble vitamins. Where from the digestive system, and subsequently transporting these substances to the venous circulation. That means they are pouring it into the veins. From there it is coming into the systemic circulation. Third one, they are the defense lymphatic system, which has got the third function is the defense function. So these lymphatic system, they also help in invading the microorganisms and preventing to spread the disease. So by this, how do this function of defense they achieve? It is achieved by the help of lymph nodes and other lymphatic organs. They filter the lymph to remove the microorganisms. जैसे हम किसी चीज को फिल्टर आउट कर देते हैं, हम चाय की पत्ती को चलनी से छान कर अलग कर देते हैं, उसी प्रकार से the filters which are present in these lymphatic organs, they filter out these microorganisms, and they do not allow these foreign particles or these microorganisms which are producing toxic substances in the form of toxins, which can lead to different diseases, different infections in our body. So these microorganisms or these foreign elements or particles, they are filtered out by these lymphatic nodes, lymphatic organs, and thus they save us by different diseases. They save us from developing different kind of infections. Now here in this slide we are seeing this. Where are these lymph? What is a lymph fluid? So lymph is a fluid which is similar to the composition of the blood plasma, and it is derived from the blood plasma as the fluid passes through the capillary walls at the arterial end. Because here at the arterial end, the pressure of the blood which is coming from the arteries is very high. So at the capillary level, this blood pressure is too high, and therefore some amount of the fluid that oozes out, and it is accumulated for time being into the space or in the intercellular space. So it is known as the interstitial fluid. So this fluid which is accumulated for temporarily in between the intercellular spaces, that is called as the interstitial fluid. So it begins to accumulate, and it is picked up back, and it is removed by tiny lymphatic vessels, and it is again poured back into the venous system or to the blood. So this is how this lymph fluid works. Now, what are the lymphatic vessels? They carry only fluid away from the tissues. यानी ये lymphatic vessels जो होती हैं, ये tissues से जो fluid है बाहर निकल गया था, उसको दोबारा collect करके tissues से दोबारा heart तक ले जाती हैं. Lymph capillaries, they are found in all regions of the body except the bone marrow, central nervous system and tissues. Tissues को, central nervous system को और bone marrow को छोड़ करके lymphatic vessels, lymphatic capillaries जो होती हैं, ये बॉडी के हमारे सारे रीजन्स में पाई जाती हैं. और कौन कौन से ऑर्गन्स, उनके एग्जांपल्स आर, दे आर लिम्फ नोड्स, इट इज अ lymphatic vessel, tonsils, then spleen and thymus. So these are the basically lymphatic vessels or lymphatic organs जहाँ पे हमारे ये पाए जाते हैं lymph systems. Here we are going to talk about an introductory session on respiratory system. As we know that respiratory, ये आपको यहाँ पे एक डायग्राम भी दिखाया गया है. So the conducting passages, that is made up of different type of tubes. It's a tubular structure which is conducting the passage of the gaseous exchange. Passage for the gaseous exchange. That means during inhalation, when we are inhaling the oxygen from the environment, it is the air passes in from this same conducting passage. And when we are exhaling out the carbon dioxide or the waste gaseous exchange waste gaseous product in the form of carbon dioxide, then also the same conducting passage is being used. So upper respiratory tract includes the nasal cavity, which is starting from the nostrils. We have got a pair of nostrils present in the facial region. Then this nasal cavity opens into nasopharynx, and ultimately this nasopharyngeal region opens into the pharynx, which is available in the present in the throat region or at the back of the throat. And this pharynx opens into the larynx. Larynx is a voice box. Here it is the larynx, which is known as the voice box. It creates a vibratory motion when we speak. So that is the voice box, or it is known as the sound box also. Then this larynx, through larynx and pharynx, this conducting passage of the respiratory passage continues in the form of tube-like structure called as a trachea, which is made up of the ring of cartilages that keeps it in its own original shape, does not let it collapse when the air is not passing through. So this, from this tracheal region, it is the lower respiratory region starts, or it is known as the lower respiratory tract. So lower respiratory tract includes the tracheal pipe, or called as the windpipe, and at the fifth vertebral region, or at the region of the fifth vertebra, this trachea bifurcates into left and right primary bronchi, which further differentiate, or it branches it into secondary and tertiary bronchi, and leading it into opening it into bronchioles, and then finally ending up with the thin balloon-like structures called as the alveoli or the alveoli sac. So this constitutes this primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli, that constitutes one single lung. So we have got a pair of lungs, right lung and the left lung. So this is all it includes the pulmonary ventilation, which is commonly referred as the breathing. Breathing includes, in a layman language or in layman term, it includes inspiration, that means inhalation, breathing in the air from the environment, and another part of this is the exhalation, that is expiration, during which the air is passed out, which is mainly chiefly made up of, or it is dominated by carbon dioxide. It is a respiratory waste. Here we are going to talk about the digestive system, and it is an introductory session. As I am talking you, it is an introductory session. I am not going into the much detail of this. So digestive system, it includes the digestive tract and its accessory gland, which processes food into molecules that can be absorbed and utilized by the cells of the body. Then digestive system includes the mouth, which is the chief organ for the partial digestion, mechanical digestion takes place of the food in, or partial breakdown of the food, mechanical breakdown takes place in the oral cavity or the mouth, which includes tongue and different type of teeth. Then this oral cavity opens into pharynx, and through this the food pipe or the esophagus, the food is pushed into the esophagus, which is a hollow tube like structure where the food moves into the passage. It is a tubular passage through peristaltic wave or peristaltic motion. And finally, the food enters into the stomach, which is where the digestion goes in an acidic medium. From the stomach, the food moves, partially digested food moves in the form of chyme into small intestine, where an partial digestion or the remaining part of the digestion takes place in an alkaline medium. And once the food is absorbed, once the food is digested in the small intestine or in the part of the small intestine, in the later part of the small intestine, the food is absorbed in the later half of the small intestine. Then once the food is absorbed, the undigested food is passed on to the large intestine, where the chiefly the remaining part of the water part is mainly absorbed into the large intestine. Then other part of the digestive system which are present in the oral cavity, it includes tongue, which has got receptors to taste the food, and teeth, they are for masticating the food and crushing it into smaller particles. So it is basically helping in the mechanical breakdown of the food we eat. And other accessory structures which are located in the mouth, then we have got digestive glands also, which are which are comprising or which are completing the digestive system. And these glands include salivary glands, then we have got the liver, then gallbladder. Then gallbladder is basically the organ which stores the bile which is produced by the liver. And pancreas, liver produces the bile which is not directly involved in the digestion, yet it is important for breaking down of the fat globules into smaller fractions. Then pancreas, which is known as the composite gland, and other major accessory organs that also play a major role in the digestion. So these all organs, they secrete fluids into the digestive tract, and detail of that all will be talking in the form of hormones and enzymes, digestive enzymes, important digestive enzymes, in when we'll be talking about detail of the digestive system. Here there is a view or picture of the digestive system that shows you the position of the mouth, the position of the tongue, which is attached to the hyoid bone, and it allows, it has got beside it's a gustatory receptor taste for the food. It also helps in pushing down the food into the pharynx. Through pharynx, it moves into the esophagus. As you can see, it is a hollow tube-like structure which does not, which in which the food moves through the peristaltic wave. And finally, it has got sphincters over here. Through this esophageal sphincter, the food is pushed into the stomach, and from this again there is a sphincter over here, which is known as the pyloric sphincter. The food is partially digested in alkaline acidic medium in the stomach in up to 2 to 3 hours, where there's a mechanical and chemical reaction takes place in the presence of enzymes. And finally the food is pushed into the small intestine. Then gallbladder is over here, liver is here, which this is the right side of the upper abdomen region. And the liver produces this bile which is stored temporarily into the gallbladder, which is the bile which is produced is passed on to the gallbladder for temporary storage. And along with the common pancreatic duct, these alkaline which makes the medium alkaline, these pancreatic enzymes also along with the bile is poured into the small intestine. So as we have talked about, this small intestine is also involved in the for the remaining part of the digestion. And also finally, once the food is digested, it is absorbed in the remaining part of the small intestine. And undigested food which is traveling down into the large intestine, it is mainly absorbing the water part. And it has got three different parts. Again, the large intestine also has got three different parts. I'll be talking in detail later on. And finally, this undigested food or the fecal matter is stored in the rectum temporarily, and it is passed out through anus. So this was all a brief introductory session about the a human digestive system. Then urinary system is another important system we have got. It is playing major role in excretion of the excretory system, or in the this is playing major role in excretion of nitrogenous waste in the form of urea or the urine. So organs that contribute the excretory system or excretory function, it comprises of a pair of kidneys, and then ureters, urinary bladder, and finally the urethra. So urinary system maintains an appropriate fluid volume by regulating the amount of water that is excreted in the urine. तो यूरिनरी सिस्टम हमारा बॉडी के अंदर जो अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर है उसको बना के रखने में, इलेक्ट्रोलाइट्स के बैलेंस को बना के रखने में, बैलेंस ऑफ डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ सॉल्ट्स को बना के रखने में मदद करता है. Then urinary system includes regulating the concentration of various electrolytes, जैसा मैंने आपको बताया, और ब्लड के पीएच को और बॉडी के अंदर पाए जाने वाले डिफरेंट इलेक्ट्रोलाइट्स जैसे सोडियम, पोटेशियम, कैल्शियम, क्लोराइड, इन आयंस को, इन एलिमेंट्स को, इनकी कॉन्सेंट्रेशन को बना के रखने में, जिसके कारण हमारे मस्कुलर एक्शंस होते हैं, डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ मस्कुलर कंट्रैक्शन एंड रिलैक्सेशन आर आल्सो अचीव्ड. दे प्ले वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल like calcium and sodium ions. They play important role in muscular contraction. You will learn about them later on. So these are very important electrolytes which needs to be, their concentration needs to be maintained. So this is achieved by this urinary system. Urinary system also plays a major role in maintaining a normal blood pressure by secreting the enzyme called as renin. So this is our structure of the main components of the urinary system. It consists of the pair of kidneys, right kidney and the left kidney. Then these are the ureters extending from the air coming out from the kidney, which is collecting the urine which is formed in each kidney and passing it to the urinary bladder, which is a muscular structure which is stretchable also. It temporarily stores the urine which is formed, and once this urinary bladder is filled, the signal goes to the brain and an urge for urination takes place, and this is attached to urethra through which the urine is passed out. So kidney from the urine and accounts for the other functions attributed to the urinary system. Ureters, they carry the urine away from the kidney, temporarily store it into the urinary bladder, and the urethra, which is a tubular structure. In case of males and females, the length of the urethra varies, through which the urine is carried out and it is passed out to the outside. Another important function or system of the body, human organs, human body organ is reproductive system. The major function of the reproductive system is to ensure survival of the species. That means consistent presence of the species is achieved by the reproductive system only. So the main function of the reproductive system is to maintain the sustenance of any living organism on the earth. So primary reproductive organs are there which achieves this function. So primary reproductive organs are the gonads, which is present in males and females as ovaries and testes respectively. The organs which are responsible for producing the egg, they are the sperm cells or the male gametes and other hormones like androgens and testosterone, whereas in females they are the ovaries which produces the ovum or the female egg cell. Now there are hormones which are governing the functions, and they are involved in the maturation of the reproductive system. They are involved in the development of the secondary sexual characters, as well as they regulate the normal physiology of the reproductive system also. Not only this, not only this, all other organs like ducts, glands which are present in the reproductive system, they are considered as the secondary or accessory reproductive glands or reproductive ducts, and they help in achieving simultaneously a common goal of the, or they are constituting the reproductive system as a whole. So these structures transport and sustain the gametes and nurture the gametes and develop the, and they are helpful in developing the offspring. This is the diagram of the male reproductive system, which is showing the primary sex organ called as the testes, which are situated extra-abdominally in the scrotal sac. Then these are the testicular lobes, which are attached to opening into the epididymis, then epididymis finally opening into the vas deferens. So this is the ductus deferens or the vas deferens, which is opening and in the meanwhile joining with the glands, which are, there are three pair of glands: seminal vesicles, bulbourethral glands, and the prostate glands, which unite the vas deferens before it and joins to the urethra. So this urethra becomes the common passage. Can you see this? Urethra is attached also to the urinary bladder and also to the vas deferens. So this is the common passage urethra, which is used for passing the urine as well as passing of the sperm during copulation. And this is the spongy urethra. This is the opening of the or the head of the penis. This is the penis which has got muscular erectile tissues, and this is the head of the penis which is known as the glans penis. So this was a brief introduction to the male reproductive structure. Male sexual response and hormonal control is achieved by three hormones. They are follicular stimulating hormones, FSH, that stimulates basically the release of the sperms, and luteinizing hormones that stimulate the production of testosterone, and it stimulates the development of secondary sexual characters and spermatogenesis. Secondary sexual characters development like development of the mustaches, development of the hairs in the groin area and the chest region. These are one of the few secondary sexual characters, male sex characters, and spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis means the formation of the sperm, that is also achieved by the intervention of these androgens or hormones like luteinizing hormones and follicular stimulating hormones in the under the prior influence of GnRH. Then we are talking about the female reproductive system. Here, this is the diagram of the female reproductive system that basically comprises of the ovaries. A pair of ovaries is present, which are found attached to the uterine wall as well as to the body wall cavity. Then from the ovaries there arises the fallopian tubes, and finally these fallopian tubes they join to the uterine cavity or the uterus. We will be talking about the layers and what are those parts of the fallopian tubes in different lectures when we'll be talking about the female reproductive system in detail. Attached to that there is a urinary bladder also. Then this is the the pubis symphysis, and this is the mons pubis, and here is an opening of the clitoris, which is the glandular structure like structure which is comparable to the penis of the males. And then this is the labia majora, labia minora, these are external genitalia. Then urethra, labia minora, labia majora, clitoris, mons pubis, this comprises of the external genitalia, whereas vagina and this is the vaginal canal which is opening into the cervix region. This is the cervix is the part where uterus joins with the vagina. This is the part or the junction part is called as the cervix. Female reproductive system includes ovaries, genital tracts called as the fallopian tubes or the oviducts, then uterus, vagina, and accessory glands. These put together constitute the female reproductive system. External genitalia, as I talked to you about all those. It apart from those, all mammary glands are also the part of the external genitalia. Then female sexual response and hormonal control is possessed or it is governed by two main hormones, follicle stimulating hormones or the FSH, and luteinizing hormones. These two hormones play an important role in oogenesis and the maturation of the follicles, primary follicles up to graphene follicles and ovulation. Apart from that, the ovarian hormones like estrogen, progesterone, they also play important role in regulating the functions of the female reproductive system. All of this we will be talking in much more detail. So just don't go anywhere, just stay with us. You'll be getting much more information about all this in coming subsequent slides and lectures. Thank you so much for listening me quite patiently. Thank you so much.